So let's get on to our dishonourable mentions. Yes. So this is a personal one of mine first. So let me make this disclaimer: I don't know who Laurel and Hardy are. To my understanding, they were a comedic duo. The only photos I can find of them are black and white. So I assume it is sometime, the early sort of 1940s or that kind of. I don't know when they got colour TV, and. The reason I have such umbrage with this, again, never seen any of their work, but any time an old fella comes up to me at an open mic and he starts to say to me, who you remind me of? And I'm like, he's going to say Laurel and Hardy, but he just can't remember it. And they go, oh, bloody, and they're like, it's on the tip of their tongue. And I'm like, he's going to say Laurel and Hardy. And they do every time. And it makes me want to just leap across the bar and pummel them. Because the only thing that they're reminded of is that I'm fat, and that the I don't know which one it is. I don't know whether it's Laurel or Hardy. I don't know which one is the heavy one. He's also got a Hitler mustache, which sort of ties that nicely back into the Winston Churchill era. But
does it? Anyway,
well, he fought against Hitler.
Yeah. Charlie Chaplin mustache.
Yeah, it wasn't inspired by Hitler, probably. Yeah. But and what is so annoying about it is the old boys think that they're going to endear, this comedian you remind me of, and I'm going to be like, oh man, what a great honor, sir, to be compared to this comedian that I have no idea really who it is, but just the fact that our outline is kind of the same. So again, nothing against Laurel and Hardy personally, but if you're an old Kiwi bloke, you're not giving me a compliment. I know you think you are, but stop it.
Just stop.
I beg you.
Just stop giving compliments.
Stop talking to me.
I haven't known an old man over 60 that has ever given a good compliment. They give compliments, but you never feel great about it.
No.
My old man's the worst for that.
What, have you got any examples?
I don't know. He'll just tell me that it's always with comedy too. He's just he'll be like, you're pretty funny for a comedy show of 12 people.
So he reminds you of how many people were in there.
Yeah, something along those lines. Anyway, I don't want to...
I think we can explore this more. I think you're onto something here. Old boys do not know how to give a good compliment. I think that's because, the culture up until recently is, I don't think men really said kind things to each other.
No, exactly. Yeah, we'll give them credit. They're trying.
Exactly. They're learning. They're figuring out what I've had...
Basically, the only compliment you used to get was you weren't terrible and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
As good as you could get.
You just sort of get a grunt and what I always like is when you ask old boys coming out of a comedy show, you're like, they're like, oh, thanks. And you go, do you have a good time? And they go, yeah, nice to do something a bit different. And
that basically, I feel like I interpret that as them saying, yeah, it's all right. I won't be back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've done it, and I shan't return. But
it's like doing a salsa dancing class.
Yeah, exactly. You do it once, and then you go, "Cool, I've had that experience, and I don't need to. I don't need to have it again."
Yeah,
but I'm grateful to have had it in the first place. Okay, so you suggested the next one, so you go ahead and take the lead on this one.
Another one, DJ Khaled. Do I really need to say anymore? He just. He's an influencer. He's not really much. He makes big songs. He's the most annoying music producer in any genre.
I do think it's quite funny to refer to him as a music producer. I'm sure that would piss him off.
Yeah.
Not being called a musician.
Well, he's not really a musician.
He's not.
No, he's kind of a collector of artists. And
he's like Thanos.
He's a parasite on the music industry.
There we go.
He's a fat leech sucking on the
Well, he sounded like a pretty reasonable fella now.
Fat leech.
Yeah. Some of my best friends are fat leeches. So DJ,
what are they living under your bed?
So DJ Khaled, is it Khaled or Khaled?
Khaled. DJ Khaled.
Khaled.
Another one.
I used to do a joke about how I look like a white version of DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
Which to mixed results, let's just say.
Have you seen the video? He's into golf now. I've only noticed it because there was a viral video that he's
playing golf.
He's playing golf. He hits a putt on the green. He sinks the putt, and then he just looks at the camera and just goes, Gatorade.
I have seen that actually.
Yeah. I was just like, fuck you, DJ.
I feel like golf. We could almost fill another podcast talking about golf as like a.
Well, here's an honourable mention that I forgot about. John Daly. John Daly's a golfer.
Yes, okay, yeah.
He's basically quick. He won a couple of golf majors. He drank, he smoked, he was fat as shit, but he hit for the 90s, he was the longest driver on tour. He hit the ball the furthest. Mate. He was so up and down and erratic, but when he got it together, he beat everybody.
I love it.
He had a couple big duels against Tiger Woods when he was first coming up. It was just wild. Anyway.
Is that because he has a lot of mass to work with?
He was just like the most naturally gifted athlete that never trained or did anything about it.
I love it.
He probably practiced golf a little bit, but he was thick, but then when he got later in his career, just got really fat.
Yeah. My favorite, a good friend of mine plays golf. I don't think he's listening, but Jake, if you're watching, he told me about this fantastic story. Like, I love how dudes think that we got to be good at golf. It's just it's just like a men's culture. Like, dudes just like, I've got, they just have a golf set for no reason, like kind of thing.
I do, yeah.
There you go.
I did go through a golf phase once, 2 or 3 years ago.
Hell yeah.
I just don't have the temperament for it.
No.
I just got too angry.
But Jake was telling me about he overheard this group of lads, well, not lads, they were old boys, warming up, and he's like, the guy did 2 practice swings and let out like an audible groan after both, and then he was like, all right, I'm ready.
Unlocking the bat, opening up.
Open the vertebrae.
Open the vertebrae.
Oh,
couple
man.
swings, off she goes.
That was my favorite part about judo, was doing the first throw of the day would always crack my back. I'd feel it shoot up my back.
Nice. Yes.
So then the next one, we sort of shuffled this next figure.
Well, yeah. Again, controversial figure. I almost had him so high that he was almost on my Mount Hossmore, but he did do some unsavory things. Again, King Henry VIII. Again,
was he the head chopping one?
Yes.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
He had chopped a bunch of his wives. Had 8 wives.
Not a feminist figure, then, I think.
Glutton. Used his power in very oppressive ways. But again, different time.
You got to let these things go.
I'm not saying it was good either back then. I'm just saying it was a different time.
Yeah. I'm curious about, so he had famously 8 wives, was it? After he killed
8. I think it was 8.
Yeah, well,
and I think he chopped 3 of their heads off, because it wasn't until the 4th one that he had, because initially the first one he tried to divorce it, but because that was when the Catholic Church was still with England and stuff, and then they're like, no, you can't divorce against the Catholic Church, and that's when he made the Church of England, so then he could divorce them.
So it's the Catholic Church's fault, really. It's not, no moral failing on Henry VIII. What are you going to do in that situation?
I might have had it mixed up. I think he chopped them off, and then it was, but then he
and then they were like, oh, dude.
But then he married the Princess of Spain.
Right.
And then he knew if he chopped her head off, Spain weren't going to be very happy.
Right, yeah.
So then that's when he was like, I just need to divorce her.
I need to figure out a way.
And so then he created his own church.
Right,
not to get war with Spain. Man. Yeah, that's right. That's how it went. Sorry, I'm not a historian. I'm a historian.
There we go. That's a t-shirt right there. Historian. Yeah. Henry VIII. What was he? King of... Was that at the point where England was unified? Or was he one of those, like Charlemagne was like the king of the Normans or whatever, and then, eventually, I think it was like, I don't know, Edward the Conqueror or something, like, grouped them all together. But I'm guessing Henry VIII was like England as a whole.
I think so. And
let us know in the comments,
because he made the Church of England.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
So it was the whole of England. Yeah.
So that
his daughter might have been Queen Mary of the Scots. So then that split, or that came. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Man,
don't come here for historical facts. Come here for Hossness.
Historical
facts.
All right, so the next one here is Eric Cartman from South Park.
Again, I almost would have said he should be on the other side of it. I wouldn't say he's that dishonourable.
Well, again, he's a grey creature.
He did kill someone's parents and feed them to them.
Yeah, that was a shocking episode. And he's also says some pretty horrible stuff. But I guess he's very iconic, isn't he? Like he's such a pop culture kind of, you see t-shirts and stuff around and everything. I'm not super, I've watched South Park, but I'm not super familiar with it. What else can you sort of share about Eric Cartman?
Well, he's kind of the epitome of just the fat kid that he's not so much. He's kind of just summed up as a kid that just is the early 2000s kind of kid whose parents just didn't give a shit. And because, like, he can eat whatever he wants, he does whatever he wants, he bosses his mum around, like, you know, screams and tells him what to do. Yeah. And then and then bullies all his friends but can't take it himself.
That's right.
So it's kind of, he's just the epitome of the worst possible kid that was raised in the worst possible way.
Fair enough.
But he's great.
Well,
and he's got some redeemable characters.
He's certainly entertaining, isn't he?
He's kind of the vehicle to be able to do everything horrible. Like, he is the character they use to be the bad guy all the time. So
every story needs a heel, don't
yes.
they? All right, so we've almost filled up the podcast just talking about the dishonourable mentions. Okay, so here we go. Next one here, Robert Baratheon. He is the king in Game of Thrones at the start, and from what the reason I put him on dishonourable is because, like, well, for one, he hit his wife, which is not cool. And then I believe also was like rampantly cheating on her with basically everything and everyone that moved.
Different time.
Jesus. It's a fantasy book as well. So
different time and space.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. He was apparently like the muscular sort of jock. He was I believe the phrase they used was muscled like a maiden's fantasy, which is just doesn't it just paint pictures in your head. I think we're all picturing in our head right now what young Robert Baratheon looked like. But he won the throne, and the reason I put him on dishonourable is because he's that dude that, like, he doesn't actually get to know a lady, but he has this idea in his head of what she's like, and he's in love with this idea of her. You know, we've all done this before. Well, I certainly have anyways. And he's just fixated on, like, who he thinks she is and not who she actually is. And I just think that's a toxic trait that a lot of guys have. So hence dishonourable mentions there. And then last one. This one, again, could be either side of the fence, but James Corden.
I'm on the dishonourable side of this.
You're on the dishonourable side?
I'm on the dishonourable side of this fence. I think he should be hung and lynched.
That is a strong statement.
Yeah, that is very strong. Maybe cut that one out. Anyway.
Actually,
no, that's all right. No.
Hang on.
Nah. Okay,
we stand by our words.
It. Fuck him. Anyway.
James Corden, but like from what I've heard, he doesn't. This is the whole thing. Like, people always talk about, like, Alan, like the whole "don't look me in the face," like, make sure you have fresh breath when you talk to me tyrant thing. Like, I love that Alan was a tyrant, by the way. I think that was hilarious. But yeah, apparently Corden doesn't really know his staff's name, which is a bit of a taboo in late night. And you said something quite interesting. You said when he had that freak out at the restaurant, people were like, "Finally, we've got something we can use to, you know, we knew it. He was horrible all along," or whatever. And
not finally. I don't know if it's the only evidence, but it was just a case where people were like, "See, he's a bad guy." See, that's
We told you.
Which, I don't know. To be fair, I think about James Corden exactly like 2 times a decade. So
yeah, exactly. Like I will say as well, the reason he might have made it on the honourable side is because his rant about Indian food from Gavin and Stacey was incredible. I'll try to chuck a link to it, but basically he's ordering. I guess, how do you feel about this when you do like a takeaway order? Do you prefer to have your own stuff, or are you okay with the shared spread on the table? And everyone kind of just has little bits and pieces.
I think it depends on the amount of people. I think if you're going like 6+, then share it.
Then a spread.
Put a spread on, you know, because I quite like having a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of good. But yeah, if it's like 4 or 5, then you give me my own.
No, that's fair. Yeah. So he just does this incredible rant about how he's like, I ordered all this stuff because I want it. This person's ordered that, which is useless to me. This person's ordered that, but like they're all definitely going to have mine. So he gets very territorial about his food. And then I think he says, "No, I want no part of it. I'll eat it. I'll order my own and I'll eat it in the car," which is just a tremendous line.
Thanks for watching this Hosstown clip. Why not watch another one while you're at it? You can watch full episodes of the Hosstown podcast here on YouTube, or you can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcatcher. See you in Hosstown.